For those of us still hunting, the suspense continues to build. But before we get into the ongoing stories of my hunt for Big 7, Owen's hunt for Uno, and Caleb's pursuit of the giant open country buck he calls Dakota, let's take a break from Iowa and catch up with Jim Scherer as he hunts in central Illinois.
We are in the tree. I know that there's deer here close. They're usually bed about 100 to 125, 30 yards away on the other side of the field. I just hope something big comes in. Of course, everybody always does.
Meow. Meow.
He was coming out to check these does. I had some does underneath the oak tree here that they were feeding. Oh, that was an awesome hunt.
Back in Iowa, Caleb Byers heads out on the morning of the 12th to a tree stand in the only draw on the farm, the most likely place for the giant he is hunting to come within bow range. It is quite an interesting setup, a giant buck living in a tiny little draw in otherwise wide open country.
And we're back in here after this buck I call Dakota. We seen him yesterday morning on a scouting mission, basically at the start of this draw, back by the road. He ended up working his way onto the neighbors, but he's locked down with a doe. So we really feel like she's gonna come back this way at some point to feed. We're just hoping that is one of our resident does, and we really feel like it is. There was 11 does and fawns staying in here through the summer and into late October. This draw runs basically the length of this farm, and with a northwest wind, we're blowing it right back into this pasture. So they could come from either direction and we should be fine. It's exciting nonetheless, a beautiful view. You can see a long ways, so hopefully we can at least lay our eyes on him this morning.
As Caleb is waiting on Dakota, 70 miles to the east, I'm biding my time, hunting a redneck blind down in a valley on the very south end of what I believe is the Big 7's range. My real hope lies in the small patch of standing corn that I plan to hunt that afternoon. For this morning's hunt, we're down in that valley again. I think we hunted it maybe 3 days ago or so, 4 days maybe. This is the spot where the deer funnel back and forth between these two small big and beastie plots. And these plots, looking out the window at them right now, I mean, they're eating, gosh, I wouldn't say they're eating to the dirt, but the deer are pounding those pretty good. So I know there's a lot of deer down in here, and we saw that last time we were here for an evening hunt. We haven't sat here yet for a morning hunt, and so far, there's a good reason why. And we probably shouldn't have sat here this morning either. These, I've talked about it before, but down in these valleys like this, it's really hard to hunt out of a tree stand without the wind swirling everywhere and giving you away. So these redneck blinds with the windows closed are perfect. And if you do open a window, having that ozonics running to, rain the ozone down over the top of that window, that does a really good job too of cleaning up any human odor that tries to get out of the blind. So that's where we're at today. I am not particularly enthusiastic or optimistic about our chances based on the slow start that we've had here, but we'll stick it out for a while and then we'll come up with a plan for the afternoon. I mean, it's really hard in the afternoons not to go back to that honey hole, to that little corn plot up on that hill, because that's where all the deer are headed, and it's a short distance away from where we know or believe that big 7 buck is living. So we'll probably be back there again this evening. But for now, we're hoping to see something moving down through this valley.
Not just any cold.
It's going up the ridge. Good, here comes a buck to runner. That's what we need. As we rejoin Caleb Byers, he is making a plan for the afternoon, determined to find a way to get the giant buck within bow range.
Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and get down and just try and go spot him in that other section. If we don't see him, we will probably hunt somewhere else. My best opportunity at him might be late November, early December on the standing beans up here after. They've been running around for a long time and need to feed back and regain all that body weight. So we'll just see how this plays out. I think we're not out of the game yet. As long as the neighbor doesn't shoot him, he's going to be back here at some point. We just have to be here at the right time. So we'll keep after him. Well, we just pulled in to hunt Nemo, and there's a doe out here with I'm pretty sure it's a 3-year-old buck, just an 8-pointer with he's got a half-broken G3. We haven't really seen Nemo in a while. We have no recent information, but we're just going to kind of go off last year. He should be in there. And if not, there's a couple other deer, double throat patch being one that we know he stays on that side of the farm for the most part, but we did have the encounter with him over here last year. So hopefully we see one of the either Nemo or double throat patch tonight, but we'll get ready and head back in there, and we'll see you in the stand. Our access is definitely not good, but if we're gonna kill Nemo, we gotta get to where he's living, so. Well, it has been hectic in here. It's been crazy. We've seen a buck and a doe in the field when we first pulled in, and then walking to the stand, we've seen another buck bedded down in the draw that we have to walk by to get here. And then we weren't even fully set up in the tree yet and had an insanely awesome 3-year-old come strolling by. And I did look back through pictures that I had on my phone, and thank goodness I did make the right decision. That is the 3-year-old I thought it was. And I passed him a ton of times last year, and I just passed him again this year, so it's cool to, there's nothing better than building that history with a deer. And then, when they get to maturity, you put them on the hit list and start hunting them for real. So, you can't beat that. Now all we need is either Nemo or double throat patch to come on by. that's pretty much going to wrap up our hunt for this evening. It started off really fast, but then tapered off towards the end. We didn't see much for the last hour, really. But it's tough this time of year when a majority of your mature bucks are locked down with does. You just never know where that doe's going to take them. So all you can do is put your time in and hope for the best, and that's what we're going to do. So we'll see you back in the tree in the morning.
Caleb and I both have slow hunts. This trend is going to be increasingly common to our stories as we head into the middle of the month, the rut's notorious lull. But we take hope in the knowledge that there are always exceptions. I remember back to 2011 when on that very same date, Brad DeMoss tags a tremendous buck that is alone and searching for the next hot doe.
We're hunting here on my farm this afternoon. We're overlooking a creek bed. It's been pretty tough for me this week of vacation I've had. I haven't even picked up the Hoyt to even think about shooting a deer yet. I mean, we haven't had a mature deer come through on my sets, so we're pretty lucky to be able to do this, but see what it brings. Finally. Yes. I'm pretty pumped. I mean, I don't know what to say. Sitting here looking at college football scores on my phone and look up and he's coming right in. I mean, gave me a perfect shot at about, I'd say 15 yards broadside. Oh, there he is. Can't be any happier about taking this thing. This thing tickles me to death for as hard as I've hunted this week on vacation, and finally to get a reward like this means something special.
As promised, I decided to head back to the small corn patch for the afternoon hunt. This is by far the hottest spot on the farm, and as carefully as we hunt it, the deer are still not onto our plan. I'm settled back into my blind on the edge of this little corn plot. I'm looking across the valley and I can see the timber where I think that big 7 beds, at least some of the time. That's where we ran into him. I've gotten a lot of trail camera pictures of him over there, so it's about 250, 300 yards probably across. And I wish we were closer. I wish this little patch of corn was right next to the area where he's bedding. I feel like we'd have a better chance of him being there during daylight. But as cold as it is tonight, I mean, we're looking at probably low 20s right now. I'd say the wind chill is probably 10. And it's supposed to keep dropping all night. This is going to be a hot spot for the deer. Deer love corn when it gets cold, and this is the only spot on the farm right now that's got standing corn, and it seems to be the place that the deer are most interested in getting to. So I think we're in the right spot. We just had a little spike go through a few minutes ago. That was the first deer of the afternoon, but it's still real early. So I'm going to settle in and get ready for the show. As Quentin and I settle in, hoping for a surprise visit from the Big Seven, 50 miles to the southwest, Owen is also hunting this afternoon, one day after missing the huge frame typical he calls Uno. Knowing that he didn't spook the buck badly, Owen heads back to the same blind.
Well, guys, here we are, November 12th. We're back in that same blind. You probably had a chance by now to see the hunt yesterday where I launched an arrow to the moon. Neil Armstrong will be proud of me, I swear. It was a debacle, but we're back in the same blind. The only question I have is how is he gonna accept this blind now, after that deal. I feel like he'll still feed in this corn, being as cold as it is today. It's like 20 degrees is the high. Yesterday was like 45, so it's really dropped out. So we're gonna sit in here and see, but I feel good about seeing him. I just don't know about how close, so. Well, we've seen a good number of bucks so far, probably 7 or 8, so interesting. I've noticed almost all of them have just gone right to feeding. There's been a couple of does out there, but they have basically paid no attention and just, it's almost like the rut's over. And it's surprising because traditionally I've seen the most tending from about now through the 17th, 18th, something like that. But, it's interesting. They're acting like the rut's over and it's time to eat, so I'm sure it's not, but it sure feels that way. They like that screen, don't they? Do you have a camera? No, I don't know. I had one there last year.
On the hill overlooking the small corn patch, my afternoon is taking shape. Is going to make his move.
They're locked up right now.
Their fawn just rolled in. It's going to get good. The deer down on the bottom might be that doe. Yeah. Big Seven. Be careful. Is he coming in?
Oh, he's eating right now. He's right on the trail we walked in on.
Yeah. I know what he is.
How far is he right now?
You good?
Yep.
I don't like it when I don't see the arrow. I mean, I wish I had the lighted nocks right now, but the shot felt good to me. The deer did that typical meal kick that they do when you shoot them right around the heart region. hopefully that's it. Hopefully we got the big 7 tonight. But like I said, I didn't see the arrow hit, but the way he reacted, he sure reacted like it was an arrow somewhere near the heart. So that's my hope. I think it's too low. I think it's right where Caleb Byers hit that buck. You're definitely following her. That's interesting.
He's not running very good though.
No, but he is running. We were trying to decide whether to celebrate or not, and we looked out into the bottom cornfield, and he was standing down there. He was following a doe, and he followed her all the way across, and then all the way back across, and went into the timber down here. So we could see the entry and the exit hole through the binoculars, and the shot was just low. It was probably a couple inches too low, and hopefully it was through the liver, and he just went into the woods there and laid down to die. That's what we're hoping right now, but we're going to stay, obviously, and not bump him in that direction. We're going to keep an eye and see if he comes back out again or if he crosses that little wood line. He was 30 yards away. I thought I had the 30-yard pin buried on him, but I must have came off it just a little bit, or maybe it wasn't quite right where I thought it was. So just like I said, a couple inches low. But hopefully that's where we'll find him tomorrow. As my ride on the roller coaster sees me pulling 12 Gs through a tight turn, 400 miles to the west, team member Darin Holman's ride is also thrilling.
I think this is a deer we're after, one of the deer we got trail cam pics of, so pretty pumped. Yeah, I don't know what to say right now, so anticipation is he didn't go too far, so we'll see what happens here. Pretty wild character on him.
It's going to be a long night as I wait for dawn to take up the trail of the Big 7. Times like this leave us very uneasy. He's got to be right there. No deer can live through that hit, right behind the heart and angling up and forward. Yet there's always doubt. Unless you see him fall, there's always that nagging doubt. Even after I find the Big 7 tomorrow, I will still have a second tag. Those of us who are still hunting know what we're up against now. As we move closer to the middle of November, things slow down noticeably. The number of does in estrus at any one time increases daily before peaking mid-month. Bucks that had to cover lots of ground to find each hot doe just a week earlier now find the search very easy. In fact, they rarely have to search at all. We will cross that bridge when we come to it. It is still the rut, and even a bad day of rut hunting is better than a good day at almost any other point in the season. No matter how slow it might get, there is still no place that we would rather be than right here, chasing November.